If you feel stuck in a job that doesn't really feel like you, this video has some answers. Because many people feel that something's off, but they can't really pin it down what it is. That's why in this video, I show you the 5+1 dimensions that most influence why you feel stuck. Because whenever I coach high performers like consultants or senior leaders, they tell me that they're either massively stuck in one of those dimensions or they're even stuck in several dimensions or worse, in all of them. So stick around until the end, because feeling stuck isn't wrong. Although it's not a nice feeling to have, it's there for a reason. And the reason is to show you that something is off and you can do something about it. Feeling stuck in life or in a career is merely your body's way of telling you, buddy, you're going down the wrong path. It's time to redirect. Change the direction in your navigation system. We don't want to go there anymore. And that's why listening to this inner voice is so important to avoid heavier stuff like burnout. By the way, all of what I teach here on YouTube, I share in my Mental Mastery Academy. It's a community for high performers who are deliberately building meaningful careers. So feel free to check it out. The link is down in the description. Now, let's dive into each of the dimensions in detail so you can find out which dimension feels most off and what you can do about them. All right? First, it's the environment. What do I mean by the environment? Look, in the workforce, there are several different environments. You can work in a startup, you can work in a big corporate business, you can work in a family business, so a smaller business. You can work as an entrepreneur, you can work as a solopreneur. So all of these are different environments, and all of those different environments have their specific rules that we need to play by, and that can cause some trouble. For instance, corporates, they are normally very rigid. There are a lot of protocols in place. There are a lot of meetings in place. You need to obey the hierarchy. So those are all rules you need to play by. While in a startup, it's a lot more agile. You don't have the structure, you don't have that steep hierarchy, but then again, it's a lot more chaotic. They don't have the processes yet. So you need to constantly be flexible and deal with this high constant change in this environment. So just looking at this kind of environment that you work in right now, that might be a revelation for you. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself. What is it that you most hate about the type of company that you're working in right now? Is it the hierarchy, the ass kissing? Is it the rigidity of the system? Is it your ceiling? What is it? Is it the thousands of meetings, back-to-back meetings? So take some time and write down, what do you hate most about the current environment? And then you can inverse that. So what do you actually wish for? The next dimension are the people around you. So not only with the environment, but generally speaking, depending, for instance, on which department you work in, people behave differently. So you can work in a big corporate, and maybe that's fine for you. But if you're working in marketing, the people in marketing, they tick in a very specific way. They have very certain behaviors, very certain values, and maybe that's just off. And you'd prefer to work with other kind of people, like more people who are focusing more on tech stuff, who are focusing more on structure, who are focusing more on product development. Because each department, marketing, sales, product development, tech, customer service, comes with a very different type of people who fit into this environment. So Right now, take some time and look at the people around you. What do you most hate about those people, their behaviors, the way they talk? And what is it that you most appreciate in people? Now, the next one, that's kind of a biggie too. It's the dimension of your skills. And skills actually have a subset. So, in positive psychology, we differentiate between competencies and strengths. So, what's the difference? Anyone can become competent to a certain level at any kind of skill. So, for instance, you can learn to play the piano. Anyone can do that to a certain level. You might not become the next Beethoven, but you can play it to a certain level. So I like to put skills on a level from 1 to 10. So for the piano example, right now, if you are playing the piano, where would you rate yourself? 4 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 8 out of 10? And same applies for the workforce. So, for instance, if your current job requires a lot of preparing Excel spreadsheets, presentations, coaching people, analyzing, then look at each of those skills. Doing research, analyzing. How do you rate yourself? How good do you really think you are? Are you a 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10? You can also ask your colleagues, you can ask your boss, because that will give you more perspective, not only your subjective perspective, but how other people perceive you. So that's competencies. Every single one person on this earth can learn anything up to a certain level. Doesn't mean they will get particularly good at it. That brings us to strengths. So, strengths are unique skill sets that, for you personally, in your DNA, genetically, you are particularly good at. It comes very natural to you to learn certain stuff. So, those are the things when people say, oh, look at this soccer player. I wish I had this kind of talent. Look at how easily she's delivering the management presentation. I wish I had that skill. While you might not have that specific skill, you do have some skills, strengths that come easy to you. So take some time and again, look at what are the activities, your day to day routines in your work routine that seem to come easy to you. For you, it seems like nothing, but other people will say exactly that about you. Next dimension is the topics. So that's content, if you will. Think about it like that. In my line of work, content is about psychology, it's about productivity, it's about sports science, medical and neuroscience. So, those are all the topics that I'm interested in, that fascinate me, that I really enjoy learning more about. Nobody needs to tell me learning more about neuroscience and researching videos, watching YouTube videos, and constantly, exposing myself more into the area and gaining more knowledge. So, what are the topics, the content that you love to consume? Again, take some time, make your list, and look at your daily routine right now. Like, how much exposure do you have to those topics that excite you? Now, the last but one dimension that's also kind of a biggie. It's about values. So think of values in the following way. What is important to you? What matters to you? For instance, it could be something like freedom is very important to you and having flexibility. Now, if you look at the colleagues around you and the company and the structure, If flexibility and freedom is very important to you, and I mean like that's your top 5 values, and then your company, your job, your role doesn't provide for flexibility, doesn't provide for more freedom, then probably there's a mismatch in values. So, easy example. If flexibility for you is very important because you have kids at home, you like to actually see your kids growing up, and you don't want to spend 2 3 hours commuting to on top of your job, lose even more time that you'd actually prefer spending with your family, then this kind of appreciating flexibility will be a mismatch with the company's values, because values are always put into practice, like in the example of remote work. Does your company allow for remote work? Yes or no? Behind that is a value that the company appreciates and enforces by the structures and processes they implement. So, for you to introspect a little bit, use this phrase: what's important for me? What matters most to me? What are red lines that you don't want to see crossed? And then look at what's happening around you. Might be a big mismatch. And now the last dimension, that's also kind of a biggie for some people. It's the mission of the company. So it might be that you're working at some kind of tech company, developing tech, apps, whatsoever. And the product your company delivers, it doesn't create any meaning for you. Like, you could do any job literally because you're programming, or maybe you're a senior leader, and you need to hold meetings, report up to management. But why do you do that? Like, what impact does your work have for the customer? Different example. You might do the exact same work that you're doing right now, but the topic of sustainability matters to you. The topic of helping people becoming their best version matters to you. Or the topic of wasting less garbage matters to you. So then, if your company doesn't do anything remotely connected to what matters to you, that might create a big mismatch. And you might find yourself better off working off a company that actually has a purpose that connects to your personal purpose and your personal values. Now, you can ask yourself, what would you like to see in the world that makes a real impact on people's lives? And by the way, I have also another video, how to find your ikigai. So that's a lot about finding purpose and finding meaning. It's a Japanese concept. You can also check that out. And if you want to dive deeper into analyzing your skills, differentiating your strengths from your competencies, I also have another video that helps you with an easy 2-step process to dive into what you're generally good at, what you want to have more in your work, and what doesn't. I linked the video right here. I'm happy to see you there.